All right, it looks like we have no comments from the public this evening. I will start with the agenda. I'm going to make one oral amendment. We are going to update our internal controls and circulate that for next meeting. So I'm going to remove the internal controls ratification to March. Any objections? All right, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items we need to remove from the consent agenda? All right, then I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. We'll now move on to the claims and warrants. Do we have any discussion on the claims and warrants? All right, then I'll accept a motion to approve the claims and warrants.
So,
All right, I'll second the motion. All in favor?
yes,
Aye. All right, any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, we now move to the election of a board treasurer. So we now have a new CFO as board treasurer, which is Ken Leffler. And traditionally, since we're a large organization, we use our CFO as the board treasurer. So I'll go ahead and start discussion by making a nomination for Kim Leffler as our board treasurer.
I will second that.
An enthusiastic second.
Yes.
Any discussion on that motion? All right. All in favor of electing Kim as our new board treasurer, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now I will temporarily adjourn this meeting of the full board. Of the full board. So I'll make a motion to adjourn. Yeah, temporarily adjourn the motion of the full board. So, okay. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. I will now call to order the meeting of the Library Board of Finance. The first order of business is to elect a president of the Board of Finance. I would go ahead and nominate Andre Miksha as our president of the Board of Finance. He is the chair of our finance committee and serves as the assistant secretary and treasurer. So I think he's the appropriate person to run that board. Any discussion? No. All right, second. Any discussion on that motion? All right. All in favor of electing Andre Miksha, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. I'll hand it over to you, Mr. President.
All right. I guess next order of business is to elect a secretary of this Board of Finance, which has such amazing power and wields such greatness. Are there any motions from the floor as for nominees for secretary?
There are three of us on that.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion on the motion to nominate? Can you balance a checkbook? And you can write, right? Okay, yes. You seem qualified to be secretary of the Board of Finance, Bill. Any other discussion? We have motion to appoint Bill as board secretary of the Finance Board. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opinion chair, the ayes have it. Congratulations, Bill. We have two resolutions on our agenda to discuss. So we have a resolution authorizing basically, or do we need to do all four?
Well, we actually have a representative from Baker Tilly here to discuss our investments, and he will describe the resolutions that need.
And your name, sir? Chair recognizes Jeff Messer. You have the floor, sir. Yes, please.
Oh, sorry.
Great to hear you.
Yeah.
So we started addressing the guy late in the summer, and you can see here, this is like the current portfolio stuff. We have a number of the public funds schemes. And all of you know, build an investment ladder. Oh, there you go, there, the business making. It's probably going to start going back in. The market is thinking they need that at the end of this month, possibility maybe by May, they'll start lowering rates. You can do it for a couple of years and then stop with the elections, with the interfere with the elections, stop, maybe make a couple of cuts. So as these investments mature, you can see that this one is there, but at the very top, and insurers at the end of February. So what we'll end up doing is all where that matures, we recommendations on how far out to invest based on how we feel what's happening. And then we might invest that a little bit longer because the rates go down. We're talking, this is really that's kind of like you don't need it right away. And if you can lock in single rates, really good rates right now, and hold on to the rates because they're going down. We like to use that. And that's one of the revolutions that I'll talk about. That's coming, summary of the investment. Turning on CD, and buy a CD, they pay interest on it for the so like in February, that investment will pay all of its interest at one time. So we'll be doing this full reinvestment. That we did. Any questions on that? Oh, for the year, and it was very conservative anyway, so let's try to use the tool they give us. That's it, sorry. This one gives us the ability to invest not only in the libraries and political subdivision, if you will, but also any of the new bank in the state. I'm not gonna go up or down south to find a bank. Here in Allen County and Marion County, there are so many banks. And the more banks we
Any questions from the board for Mr. Messer? Right, at this time, I'll entertain any motions regarding the resolutions. And I guess first, let's take up the investment policy. Any questions about that before we take that up? And take any motions on that?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, indicate your vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to resolution authorizing investment in public funds, the CD one, not that one. Was it the other one? That one? That's the CD. Any discussion further on that? Hearing none, please vote signifying by saying aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. And finally, the policy indicating and authorizing over 2 years, less than 4-year investment. Is there a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve that policy.
Thank you. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Please signify aye. Opposed? That also passes. Thank you, Mr. Messer. Absolutely.
So every final meeting.
Very good. Thank you. Final bit of business for the Board of Finance is designation of the newspapers or qualified publications in which the library shall publish notices. At this point, is there a motion to approve individual newspapers? Otherwise, the chair will make one and suggest that the Hamilton County Reporter and Noblesville Times be used as the newspapers or qualified publications in which to publish such notices.
I'll make a motion to approve the Hamilton County Reporter and Noblesville Times.
Any further discussion on that? And we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the Board of Finance.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Yay. All right. And I'll
All right.
back to Craig.
I will now reconvene the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. The next item on our agenda is the renovation update, so I'll hand it over to Kevin. That's next. That might go down. I'll get back to them. When I first met them.
So if that's, they had the physical packet and, building, so run through that, I just highlight every, very big. We're kind of here to find the road. We really got through the majority of the phase one project. We following period, all the site work was going on. The last that's our the one here at the south and to the main entrance. As well as this on the sides. One other main item to discuss on Monday is also final working. Really for how we like it to be. I think things we have to get answered before we finalize that. Approach we would like to take, that's interested, I don't know when. But that gives us really a path to close out that phase one project probably over the next couple of months. As we've seen on the project, in spite of the fact the world has gotten better in construction, there are still some lag on metal paint. So we still don't have the exact time, and now we've got to go about that and be open. So we have to be shut down for a couple of days. Are installed. So we're that close. The work that's going on now that phase two work, so that was mostly that interior work, the carpeting, painting, so it kind of finished out with the interior area with a totally different contractor. So that contractor is now coming behind the phase one work that was there at the south entrance. So That's actually scheduled to be done in the next few weeks. And then we can have some job, right? Happen. So again, the figure is really in that, within a few months, for complete meetings of standard. Which I know we've been very specific about, so standing information is coming up here next week. Oh, and if you about that, I think that practical side of contractors. No, they'll have over to do. They're making pretty good headway up there on the profit discoveries and on the second floor. I know there's some. There's the contractors and contractors that were controlled by the library, separate from that general contractor, and we're getting people all off each other with a challenge. So not count folks and just getting scheduled to line up. Those folks, the folks that now being on site here, September 30th, to kind of do their final measurements. And they're the folks who are making like the interactions, so things like that, or bring that state. Fabricate that stuff and will be done roughly the middle of March, so that would be something kind of have to borrow around. We'll be looking for the end of March, beginning of April, sometime in that range to be able to bring that state back up to the bubble. The adjacent staff office will vary to be done in the next or any staff will be moved back into the state as well. The other item that will be impacting utilization of that library in general for boring going on. And try to expedite some stuff done instead of doing funds in parallel. So it'll be taking that first floor offline. That'll still allow access in the area there. So don't think so the public still have access to that line. So there. So I'm sure it's brand new website that roll the thing. In terms of the general patient of everything, still going to say conservative in December, and there's talk about right that but I don't. But yeah, we haven't seen that actually spelled out and considered it. So I will say sometime you need August and would be substantial. Maybe I don't know for talk that. So other than that, in terms of change order, things like that, there's really not a lot of change.
When can we anticipate approval by the state of our modification with the firewall plan?
Update. There. And then go first. The 6 months, 3 or 4 weeks, we've got an answer with the grant project for half year done. I'm going to say a month or 2 to get that approval process through.
Okay.
That primarily prove that, but still not money. Our inspector here. All three. Yes, that.
Okay, and you anticipate that we may need a grounds committee meeting for the next regular meeting, or?
Possibly, I mean, I would say that it depends on what kind of correspondence we have in common, but the work that happened in close out some of the project, I think it would be probably plan for that.
Right. Any other questions for Kevin? All right, well, thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you. Happy week.
You too. Right. All right, any further discussion on the building projects? All right, then I'll move to the next item. All right, so the next item on our agenda is the administrator's executive recommendation for the 2024-2025 health insurance. I guess to get the ball rolling, I will make a motion that we approve the administrator's executive recommendation. All right, any discussion on the recommendation on health insurance?
Yeah, so just with the timeline of everything, we have to sign off on things before the February meeting. So we work with NFP. They're our brokers for insurance, so they help us choose the best one. And then we have to stay within our budget. So it just so we can sign up for insurance before the next meeting without having to call an extra board meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, and I guess we'll know probably the final number by our next meeting then. All right, perfect. All right, any further questions or discussion? All right, we'll take a vote then. All in favor of approving the administrator's executive recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. We'll now move to the director's report, so I'll hand it over to Melissa.
All right, so just to start, we did get our final budget order for 2024. So our final tax rate was 313 for the general fund and 0.0182 for the lease rental payment for a total levy of $7,752,151. And just one thing that Molly and I have had early discussions with Kim, the new CFO, and Mike Reuter about were just looking at the feasibility of financially supporting that third branch, and just early discussions about talking about how we absorb those costs. So just wanted you to know that that's on our radar. We're discussing it, and we want to make sure that we start planning early so that once it's time to put things in place, it doesn't have large impacts on the other two branches. So once we have some ideas and thoughts, we'll be bringing those to the board. So wanted to let you know that. And then that leads into the next topic, which this actually did not make it into the director's report. It was a meeting I just had a couple of days ago. Spoke to somebody at the Veritas Group, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Veritas Group, but they do a lot of municipal building projects, a lot in Hamilton County. Most recently, they were the owner's rep for Westfield Public Library. So we would like to schedule a meeting with them, and they have given me a couple of dates, and to help us solidify some of our thoughts and plans on what we would like this third branch to look like. And so they would like to put a proposal together for the board. And in order to do that, they would like to meet with me, Molly, and a few members of the board to just get some early thoughts on what we're thinking about what the new building could be, just run some things past us. So with that, they would help us craft the RFQ that we would turn out for the feasibility study for the parcel of land that we have off of Oleo. So Molly and I were talking, and we thought it might make sense to have the long-range planning committee, but we're open to any other suggestions of any board members who might be interested in. So the long-range planning committee, I think, is Craig, Kim, and Michelle, I believe. The two dates they gave me were January 31st and February 6th. So I just wanted to see if there was a consensus from the board, if those people would work to meet with Veritas Group and get a proposal for them.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Then I guess if anyone else wanted to attend, we could just notice it as a special meeting. So is long range planning good, or does anyone else want to attend on top of long range planning?
So this would mostly be so that they can get some feedbacks to create a proposal, and then they will be at the February meeting to present the proposal for the full board. And then if we do decide to move forward with them, they would work with the full board.
Okay. All right. Then any objections to having the long range planning committee carry on, do that meeting pending a report to the full board?
What time is it?
On the 31st, they had the 10 to 3, but I could see if there's other times that would work. You need an evening time?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Well, I can work with them and get some other times and then report back to you. Okay? Okay. So you need evening time. Okay.
So they would like to have worked that up. I'll just get it up.
Okay.
I think I can find it, so.
Okay.
If that can work out. So the thought with that is, to start conversations with them, and then obviously we want to develop those as well, right? The comparisons between.
You can invite some others too. This is a group I just happen to know of because they've been doing so much work with Westfield Library and they've done a lot of work within Hamilton County. I can find some others to bring in if you would like.
It certainly wouldn't hurt to start. Start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you thumbnail basically what the process looks like from this like concept phase to having this conversation that turns into like what sort of timeline we looking that we're actually starting here by starting down this road?
To a third branch?
Yeah.
Like to breaking ground? Oh, okay. Well, so.
30,000 foot level. I'm not.
Okay, so the first initial steps would be deciding what we want to put in the RFQ, like a request for qualifications for an architect to create the feasibility study. That's going to take some time. Once we have that, then we can use that information to start looking at other things. I would really like to see a lot of community involvement to specifically out on that side of town. What is it they want? What are the services we need out there? What are the other community organizations and government services that are also out there that like, do we partner with them? Like, we have 10 acres. That's a lot of land. So just working through, some focus groups and meeting with other officials. So that takes some time too. And then once we have a plan, then we start in with the architectural drawings and Kevin could probably answer these questions better from this point on. That's the area I'm more familiar with is getting the information of what is it you want in this building? What do we want this building to look like and be, and how do we serve the community with this? And then from there, we hopefully, I believe we have a bond that rolls off in 2025. So ideally, we would be ready to go to replace the bond in 2025, breaking ground after that. So, I mean, it's not fast. It's really.
Oh, well, 2025, to be honest, is actually faster than what I anticipated that process to be.
It's faster than I thought, but since we have a bond rolling off, then it would be nice if we could be ready to go to have one coming on. So.
Okay.
And sneakers on Oleo, what's the cross street?
I can send you the link to the exact address. It's a little bit north of 146th Street. It's close to Ruoff.
Isn't it close to the fire station?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they bought that land a long time ago. And the nice thing about that land is it's in Noblesville, but it's HSE school districts. It also kind of creates like a perfect triangle between Noblesville branch, Fisher's branch, and then that thing. So it's a nice piece of property.
As a Wayne Township resident, that would be very nice.
Yes, and as the former director out in Fortville, who would daily get Fisher's residents coming into that library, saying it's too far, it's too far.
Right.
It is, it's a hike from that side of the county all the way over. So I will, and if you would like, Michelle, I can get some other proposals from people to bring in for next month, some other owners
I think
representatives.
just starting a conversation with them.
Sure.
Right now is fine. And I mean, obviously we'd want to compare and vet out like we do, most things. So, but I think for now, just, starting with this one.
Sure.
Maybe research.
A couple other ones that I'm from, I'm going to say it wrong, it's Haberman Group is another one in the area. So I could get some information from them, set up a meeting. see if we can get.
And as far as like initial meetings and planning, do they require a fee or?
So not for this original one. So that's what this one would be, would just to get an idea of what we're looking for so that they could create like a plan of service, like just provide us some documentation of services they could offer.
Mhm.
So,
Sure.
so yeah, it's really exciting. I've been talking about this third branch since I started here in like 2008. Like that's when I first started here. So,
Mhm.
okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is the new website that Kelsey got off the ground. So that is really exciting. She and her team did a really great job on that. And then also Molly working with ABI to get the new AV equipment installed. And you'll notice we have a new camera over there. And so we're hoping that this will solve some of the sound issues that we've had with the board meetings and Zooms. And so I'm sure we'll hear about it after the meeting. So we'll know if it worked. And then the last thing, you have the full director's report. There's a lot in there, but I would also just like to specifically call attention to our outreach team. Looking at what they did in 2023 is just amazing. And so you should know that team is 2 people. And so that Brad and Julia, the amount of work that they did. So they recruit staff from within the library and then also volunteers from the community. And so if there's anyone here interested in volunteering or any of the board members, they go out, they do food pantries, they go to the farmer's market. We were at the Christmas lights parade, we do lots of events. So there's a lot of activities that you can be a part of. And anyone who's interested, you can find it on the new website or you can ask a library staff member. And then is there anything else in the report that you wanted to ask about or?
Is there any sense among you or Brad and Julia about how and why volunteerism increased 33% from 1 year to 23? Like
I mean, I would guess,
something's been done right.
well, I think it's, I would say it's our staff is very good. I think they're good at recruiting. They work with the high schoolers a lot. High school students, I mean, Bill, you can attest, those honors or those honor society students and those key club students, they need those hours and they are motivated. So, and then we also have a lot of just really dedicated people in the community. So I think it's been working with the groups of people who need the hours, and we provide a really good, safe outlet for people to get those hours. So they just work smartly, I think is what it is.
I was glad to see too with teams, the board, the advisory.
Yeah.
Interest in that growing to the point where they need officers.
Mhm.
So that's encouraging to see.
Yeah, because the best people to plan teen programs are teens. It's like when old people try to do it, like we do not do it well. As a parent of 14-year-olds, like we do, I mean, we do our best, but teens know teens. So the Teen Advisory Board is a really great resource for actually planning some of the teen staff or the teen events.
And then the other thing that stood out were the Sunday story hours. And as a mom who's always worked full time, that warms my heart to know that the moms can bring their kids in on Sunday after. So
Yeah, I know. I love that one too.
What caught my attention was, I did not know this. Do we circulate museum passes?
Mhm.
That was cool. So I saw Idle Georg on there. Are there any other?
There are some others. There are some we get asked for all the time, and we used to be able to do it. One we get asked for a lot are the state park passes, and we used to be able to do it. But just for the record, we can no longer do it. And if there are any libraries doing it, they're not supposed to be. So let me just go on the record. Molly, can you answer what state or what other museum passes?
State museum, antique museum, and the store.
Okay, well, very cool. I think that's great.
Yeah. Like the Historical Society, I think they do that like really big Christmas tree thing. Like,
I also saw the seed libraries kicking up again. I'm excited since I have a yard now. I can finally go get some seeds.
yes.
All right. Any other comments or discussion on the director's report? All right. Thank you so much, Melissa.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll move on to other old or new business. Here we amended this portion. So our first item is director search firm update. I know we had a special meeting. We discussed about we had the intent of going with Bradbury Miller. I know there's an update on that, so I'll turn it over to John. Yes.
So what happened is Bradbury Miller, my pre-client in the next 2 weeks. So they thought at this time they would be able to provide technical service for a search. Obviously I was following and speaking with the president of Bradbury. And she had an idea who we've been talking to throughout the whole process. And she all of a sudden said, you know what, you guys should really contact organizational architecture. So I was like, okay, tell me more right now. So basically they've done a lot of very successful with library director placements for the past year. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna call them their preferences. So I did one in Overland and they gave organizational architecture as one view. But I also talked to board director at Healthy Mayfield in Zionsville. They hired a director last summer. And she said organizational architecture were amazing. They were very engaged throughout the whole process and they met all the milestones and benchmarks. And she highly recommended them. But okay, so this, I don't know if this is a blessing in disguise or what. So I actually did, I wanted to make sure that organizational architecture was, they are, and I told them, you know, I've named it before, so no decision has been made. And they're going to be sending me a proposal. So I was going to send it to the board, and I don't know how you want to move forward here once we get that, because I don't know if we'll have another meeting or like what we talked about on Monday where you were doing Craig has authorization to sign off on. So I don't listen to whatever the board wants to do.
Right. So obviously, too bad Bradbury Miller didn't work out, but because yeah, I know one of the things. I mean, we kind of like their presentation of the proposal and such, but it sounds like the reviews are good on the other one. I mean,
Right, I think the same product. We just got one Bradbury was not
and those are kind of the two players in this game, right?
Oh.
Any other questions? Yeah, so I guess that's the big question. Of course, I think we should probably keep this moving as much as we can. So I think we either need to delegate to sign once we get a new proposal, or we need to get another special meeting on the agenda. Okay.
No, I think open door law is going to pose a problem there. I think the path forward here, given that we've at least seen that other proposal that was written for CFO position, I think what I would propose at this point is that we as the board authorize Craig to review that as it comes in, and if it is substantially similar, that he's allowed to give the okay to John to.
No, the numbers are blah, blah, blah. One.
Okay. So that would be my motion. As much as my calculus in every metric, I compared them on. I had BMA, Bradbury Miller being superior, but alas. But this is at least.
Yeah.
Okay. Perhaps so, but this, so that would be my motion is that we as the board empower Craig to sign off on moving forward with organizational architecture once he has an opportunity to review that, barring no big changes.
Yeah.
And if there are big changes that
I'll call a special meeting.
he calls a special meeting.
All right. Further discussion on that motion? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. So I'll look for that updated proposal from you. All right. I will look for it. Thank you. Thanks so much, John. All right. And the next item on our old and new business is, let's see, we redacted that. So that brings us. Okay, so remove the internal controls resolutions. That brings us to the proposal for legal representation. So it looks like we got a proposal in from Ann Poindexter. That's been distributed to the board. So I guess just to get discussion going on that subject, I'll make a motion that we approve the proposal sent by Ann Poindexter and authorize me to sign that on behalf of the library.
Second.
All right. Any discussion on this motion?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. So from someone who looked at one, I think the last time I think they were very over.
But yeah, so I reached out to them and I spoke to Chris Jeter and asked them, and they were going to think about it and send one. I think they're just really busy and they're building a new building right now. So he wasn't sure if they felt like they had the capacity. So I did not receive one back before the meeting. That's what's been difficult. Yeah.
One rule. So does not have any who I'm talking anytime I'm just concerned about $20,000. So if we're going to pretend as though we're not something she's not comfortable with, she doesn't have to help her because I think she's a wrong person.
So no, she's a partner in Altman, Poindexter and Wyatt. Right. APW. Yeah, which is for our purposes, because Christine's a commissioner, Christine's not involved in anything library. And I think that's why the proposed contract has the responsible attorney, paragraph 4, that Ms. Altman is, she in no event will provide services, nor will she benefit from the compensation provided, to sever as much as you can. I get your point, Kim.
I think the only response we got back when we kind of rebid it was it Krieg, and they were the most expensive. Yeah. I think they were at least 50,000 a year. And then, yeah, we reached out to MJ. Got one response from another firm I know we didn't feel comfortable moving forward with. So we've been kind of going on this for a while. And I guess I'd say in support of Ann, I think she's a great attorney, respected attorney in this community. She did a great job for the library, has a lot of knowledge. I think she's on a library board herself. We've had a lot of board turnover recently, so it's a pretty fresh board comparatively. Our longtime director has recently left, so I think there is a bit of a hole in institutional knowledge. And I mean, how long was Ann with the library? I think it was about 10 years before, so she would be filling a hole there. As we know, with rates, her rates are eminently reasonable for an attorney of her experience. The retainer is reasonable, and outside of that, her rate $350, I can assure you, is very commercially reasonable. And I guess as to the expense of that, the whole Taft opinion and all that, I think it's important to point out Ann did not refer us to Taft. She's referred us to attorneys before, like for instance, she referred us to Mike Cavosi, for the construction work, and he's been, same as Ann, very reasonable. So I guess I,
But it was between probably got somebody else, but it's also $20,000. So if some.
correct.
There's a history of that, all in partnership with the Ann. And speaking of extreme, I think the request was a bit extreme and then Ann advised against it. Because of the makeup of the board, it was decided to move ahead with it. And that's why the $20,000 needed to be set aside. Because Ann advised us, she advised us against pursuing it.
But Kim, I hear you, because if she's constantly having to refer out to somebody else for things that we would hope would be within scope, then what's the point? And yeah, I get that, but right.
It's like,
Right, and that's where I think from the history of having going through the interviews with Barnes and Krieg and others. And there's yeah.
What was that group?
Brown. or-
Because they declined us,
Right.
because we did reach back out to them, the group that ended
Yeah.
up, that represents, who represents Marion County, you know, John knew them, but, they declined us, Craig's too expensive, Jeter won't send a proposal. And is affordable, has experience in the Senate proposal. How much longer do we wait to get another proposal? And sit with no legal representation?
I will just say that there have been a few things that have come up where we have said it would be nice to have an attorney to run things past. So just, but I also agree that it would be nice to have a, hey, if we hit this amount, like,
Yeah,
Correct.
1 year term.
Yeah, it's valid.
Mhm.
I will. And I don't know, so I'm not very good at that. So I think having someone who is really. The library was general, get it on, nothing else. Nothing.
I think my only other comment is the term on this was January 1st to December 31st. Do we want to suggest that it be February 1st through January 31st, just to,
Absolutely.
if you can go a few days, if you would consider that a friendly amendment?
Yeah, I'll consider that a friendly amendment. It makes sense.
so what were those dates? February 1st to
January 31st, just
January 31st? Okay.
was right as submitted.
Sure.
I don't know when she sent that, but as submitted, it was
Then are we looking,
effective January 1st.
are we looking to prorate the retainer, or what are we looking to do there?
Well,
Oh, I was, my suggestion was
Oh,
go
I see.
February
Back.
through January rather than being a calendar year and adding it to a December meeting. Just each January, we talk about, all right, how's this working out? Are we having to spend $20,000 in extra fees and this isn't working out? Or everything's all good, sounds good, let's do it again.
Right.
All right, yeah, I accept that as a friendly amendment to just push the. All right, any further discussion on the motion? All right, I'll take a vote. All in favor of accepting the proposal of Ann Poindexter, subject to that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All All right, the next item we have on our agenda is board orientation discussion. I'll give this one to Andre since he originally suggested we put it on the agenda.
So thank you. Last was it October 6th, something like that. We had a board retreat here in the building. You can see over there. And I will say going in, I wasn't sure exactly what to expect. But I found it to be a really terrific day. It required a day off of work and it stunk in that perspective, but I found great value in it. It got us each individually. So let's see, of current board members, it was really the four of us on this side of the table, Tiffany, and then Edra was there. And then the two facilitators. And the whole point of the day was to really think more critically about our role, what a board is, and how a board works with the administrators, the day-to-day administrators, the director or co-directors as it is. And what I would suggest, and I think we also talked long range things and learned a little bit about who's thinking about, oh, I want to open the third branch and what I'm curious about, and seeing some of those ideas really get fostered. So with four of our current members being present for that event in October, we'll have a new director in a few months. What I would ask is that we give preliminary consideration to us getting an organizational retreat scheduled, but wait until we have a new director, till we have a seventh board member, and hopefully we enter kind of an era of stability. And that the 7+ new director of us can really come together, learn a little bit about each other and the board. It was, I would gladly go through it again.
Great.
Mhm.
All right, so I know, Melissa, you've done some legwork on this.
Well, so this is a little different than I think something like that, but another option, I think maybe something we could do in the meantime is the state library offers some board training. And I reached out to the state library and they are, apparently Carmel Library is also interested in doing it with their board. So we thought maybe we could do tag team, 2 Hamilton County Public Library boards, do some training together. And I thought it would be nice if we could wait till we get our new appointment and maybe get at least the February meeting so they could get one meeting under their belt. So maybe, and so that training is only like maybe, and there's actually a list of things, but it's a few hours. It's not a full day thing, but that might be a good preliminary thing going into a more intensive retreat when we have a new director. And this is also free. So the directors over at Carmel are going to send us some dates. And then once we get the new board member, we can work on that. And then, and do you know who did the retreat? If not, we can look it up. Sorry.
That's really.
Yeah.
And if we
Rayburn.
Rayburn, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And then that's the specialty of nonprofit. Available training.
Mhm.
Orientation.
So,
Rayburn or Rayburn fields.
okay, so I just wanted to see if there was interest from this board and doing this, and I thought it would be interesting to do it as an exercise with another board. So I'll get some dates and then we can maybe get something on the calendar for that.
Sounds good. Actually, that's kind of a cool idea to do it with another board.
I thought so too.
Change of,
Yeah. It's always interesting to see how other libraries do things because we're all weird and different. But the other thing I thought about too was I'd like to just thinking about coming on as a new board member. I'm going to create like a who's who. You know, I was thinking when we had that meeting, and I was like, oh, this is Mike Cavosi, but like Kim probably doesn't know who Mike Cavosi is. So like a who's who. Who are you going to see at the board meetings? So that's something I'm going to create, and then also just sending out an organizational chart. So I don't know if you have that or not. And then also just wanted to ask if there's anything that you would specifically like more information on or would like documentation or training on.
Quite frankly, I wouldn't mind a behind the scenes tour.
Okay, that we can definitely do.
You know,
Yeah,
to see the big sorting machine, you know, like that
we can give you the Boy Scout tour because that one's like the best one.
sounds great.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Well, it's something that, I forget where I saw this, but you're requesting the headshots for the board,
Mhm.
for the new, maybe for the new website. We took some at that retreat.
Oh, okay.
At least I know, you missed that part?
Yeah.
The photo section?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then I guess
Don't worry.
they would have the three of us, but,
Okay.
I just wanted. to-
Okay. Okay. I will see if I can track this down.
And Michelle, your memory is correct. It was Rayborn Group.
Oh.
Yeah, and Melissa, I just emailed you the contact information.
Thank you.
I went in skeptical and came out like, oh, this was a neat day.
Yes, it really was.
Yeah, we can definitely, so we can do tours, like, we can do them individually on your schedule, or if you want to, do them in a larger group, I can do it either way. It's, we're here a lot, so.
That
Uh,
makes sense to do it like maybe right before a scheduled meeting or something, right? Yeah, we'll all be here.
Well, and my gosh, Kevin stuck around. But I wouldn't mind, honestly, Kevin, I wouldn't mind in conjunction with our next buildings and grounds of us to have just wherever we're at, just walk through and have a more of a architect's view of the project and that sort of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, after this meeting, if you want to see where that firewall thing is, it's really interesting. It actually is.
So
Yeah, okay, I like that idea. So maybe we could, I don't know, let's see, the meeting's at 6:15, like what would work as a good time we could do a quick tour. The next one's Noblesville.
How long do you think it would take?
Thinking 30. That's with like squirrely 7-year-old boys, so we can get this in and we can do it as fast.
there's at least 3 7-year-old boys up
Yeah.
there.
Starts at 6:15. If we want to get it at 5:40, is that too weird a time? Do we want to say 5:30?
I think 5:30 is probably best. Give us some time to
Okay,
settle here.
so 5:30. So next time we can do one here.
That's great.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, and if you think of anything else that you want more information on, just let us know, okay?
All right. Any further discussion on board orientation? So I guess what would be the next steps to setting that up? You'll talk to coordinate with Carmel and the
Yeah,
Library Association?
yeah, so I'm gonna get some dates from them and then we're looking further out. I think, and I honestly think it's probably gonna be more like April because March, there's spring break. And it might be even closer to the end of April because April 8th is the eclipse. And that's a big thing. So it might be like closer to the end of April. So I think we'll have some time to get some dates, but they are supposed to reach out. She's reaching out to their board to see what works for them. And then once we have whoever this person is going to be, we can get something scheduled.
Sounds good. All right. All right. That brings us to the end of the meeting. So I'll move to adjourn.
Second.